Hello, Whiskers! Welcome to this different review slash analysis. So, I'm gonna be honest, I got into a little bit of a reading slump and I ended up binge watching a series. Now, I usually don't watch series because I prefer reading or gaming, something where I'm a little bit more interactive with the media I'm using. But I went back to an old favorite and looked at it with completely new eyes. Um, these tropes in my head, along with Red's video, which I'm going to link below. It was just the perfect storm, and I want to talk about Merlin. It's an old series, and I want to talk about the relationship between the hero and the Lancer in this series, and how it does character based storytelling really well. This series is not plot based. The plot is flimsy at best, with most of the characters getting away with things by being knocked unconscious. These people, the brain damage that they must have sustained throughout this series. But the relationship between the characters is the reason that you stick around, and it's the reason that the story has so much strength behind it and so much staying power for me. So, I want to talk about it. This is going to be a spoiler filled analysis because we're going to go into the key aspects of the story. So, spoilers, beware. So, the hero and the Lancer are two archetypes from the greater five-man band archetype. And the hero is essentially the leader, very driven, very strong, usually pretty capable. And then the Lancer is his second in command, usually a little bit more rebellious, a little bit more laid back, and there's often a complex relationship between these two. It's combative, it's competitive, it's supportive, and if anybody is going to be an anti-hero, it's going to be the Lancer. So in this story, we have Prince and then later King Arthur as our hero, obviously. He's driven, he's successful, he's definitely a very strong leader, he has a good heart, and his station as the prince slash king makes him perfect for the role. And then we have the Lancer in this story, Merlin. So this is a King Arthur retelling, and usually the role of Merlin would rather fall into the archetype of the trickster or the smart guy. He would be wise and all-knowing and always have the solution to all the problems. But this is not the case. Here we look at a different version of Merlin. In this story, Gaius is more of our trickster slash smart guy. Merlin is the Lancer here because he has some of those grayer moralities. In this story specifically, he's a lot more laid back. He's our everyman character. He's not wise, he's not all-knowing. He has a person, a smart guy he goes to for his knowledge. So he definitely falls more into the Lancer archetype. And his relationship with the hero also is indicative of that. They're combative and supportive and complicated, and they're very much foils to each other. They have a lot in common, which allows their vast differences to stand out even more. So that foil, that relationship is what creates the story and what creates their bond, and why you can see at any point in the story where we are along the plot according to how close these two are and how their opposing sides bump heads, because it changes throughout the story. Okay, so usually these character differences and these fights in a more plot-driven story would be side quests. Think about the side plots of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Leonardo versus Raphael, and how Raphael is the Lancer and his aggression is opposed, his passion rather is a foil to Leonardo's calm, logical thinking. Or in The Gunslinger, they have a little bit of opposing views. Even though the role is still very supportive, Roland is our hero, and then Eddie is supportive but the Lancer, but challenging him the whole time. So yeah, usually those relationships are more kind of a side plot to the main thing, but in a character-based story, it gives this relationship a lot more room to grow. Essentially, in this retelling, we start with Camelot, and it is in the control of Uther. And Uther represents the old ways. He represents pure bloodlines. Royal blood and noble blood is of the utmost importance. He hates magic. He is a might makes right type of ruler. Uther even hunted the dragons to the brink of extinction. That's how much he hates it, and that's how much fear and power and dominance he brings. It's a tyrannical type of dominance. And this is from the king. And then we have his opposite, who is Merlin, who is your everyman with a lot of magical power. He believes he's from peasant birth, so he obviously doesn't have this thing about bloodlines making you worthy or not worthy. And then we have Arthur, who's trapped in the middle of this. He looks up to the power and the respect his father got through the might makes right narrative. He's a good swordsman. He has the power to make right through might. But he also has seen the value that people bring, even though their bloodlines may not be pure. He has also seen the value in peasants, the value in everyday people doing courageous things. And he cares more about the essence of a person's heart and the strength of their character than necessarily what their bloodlines entail. So Arthur has some questions around this, and he also questions his father's hatred for magic. And it's those questions that make him the kind of center of this. Whether Arthur's going to be swayed more towards Uther or more towards Merlin is the pinnacle point of this. This story is built on that relationship. So either Camelot will remain as is, tyrannical and evil and hating magic and killing children for something they were born with, or it could turn to Merlin's side and the prophecy of Albion will be born. Albion is supposed to be this world where everyone is equal and everyone is fair and treated fairly, and that's what Merlin is working towards. So because Albion, Merlin's side, is the destiny, and because Uther is an old man who has to die at some point, the plot pushes us towards the relationship between Merlin and Arthur the whole time. So it begins with teasing. Merlin is a lesser man because of his bloodline, and Arthur teases him. He uses his brute strength to bully him. And this shows that the old ways are still at play, that Merlin is worth nothing in Arthur's eyes. Arthur is a good man, but he's been spoilt by his father and those ideas, and just has a rotten layer over him that he needs to shed, a rotten layer of arrogance and entitlement. And that you can see at the beginning, where they're teasing each other the whole time, but there's no respect in it. It's just blunt bullying.
Oh, don't run away!
From you?
Oh, thank God. Thought you were deaf as well as dumb.
Look, I've told you you're an ass. I just didn't realize you were a royal one.
And then things kind of grow and change and develop over time. So Merlin and Arthur's relationship is able to grow, as I said, because the thing that makes the Lancer-hero relationship so complicated is that they have so much in common. Merlin and Arthur both are really stubborn. If they think something is the right thing to do and they believe in their hearts that it is right, they will do it, no matter what personal sacrifice they have to do. They are courageous to a fault. At least the plot armor is there to save them, because otherwise these boys should be dead. And they're both playful and teasing in that sort of way. They both have really good hearts in the end, and they both really care deeply for their friends. They're loyal. No matter the bloodline, no matter what, they are loyal to their cause and to each other. So their relationship builds because of these commonalities. They have these things in common, and slowly over time that builds respect, admiration, and even love. And Merlin believes more and more in the world that Arthur is able to build. And Arthur relies more and more on Merlin to support him, even though he does not yet know what the end goal is for Merlin, and that magic is not a force of evil.
The man who freed it would unite the land of Albion and rule over the greatest kingdom the world has ever known. That man is you, Arthur.
You're making this up.
Why would I do that? Your head's already as big as your waist.
Okay, so with the building friendship, we also see a big change in Camelot. All of a sudden, people of lower birth start occupying higher roles in society. They have knights of common birth. They even have a queen who was previously a servant. Guinevere marries Arthur. And here we can see already there's a change in the fabric of their society because of this friendship. Because of Arthur's words, because of Arthur's trust in Merlin, and because of Merlin's thoughtful words, and his pushing him bit by bit into the right direction. And his undying loyalty and his good heart that slowly change an entire nation. And then finally, Merlin is revealed in the last few episodes. And at first, Arthur feels bitterly betrayed. According to him, magic is the root of all evil. Magic is only a force for evil. His father died by magic. His mother died by magic. And he loves Merlin so damn much. How could this evil exist in his best friend? And he doesn't understand it, and he doesn't want to accept it, but he's kind of powerless to fight or run because he's injured. And over time, he comes to realize what Merlin has sacrificed, what he has meant to him, and how deep their friendship really goes. And finally, with Arthur's death, Albion is born.
Everything you've done, I know now. For me, for Camelot, for the kingdom you helped me build.
You'd have done it without me.
Maybe. I want to say something I've never said to you before. Thank you.
Okay. And now their relationship ends with Arthur appreciating his friend for the first time, with the true love between them. The true love between these two characters cannot be more clear here. And Arthur's appreciation of Merlin and Merlin's desperate love for Arthur are the forces that create Albion. Now, we never really get to see Albion ourselves. Arthur dies, and that is the end of the story. But it is strongly implied that Guinevere will reign as queen, and that she accepts magic. She knows that Merlin has magic, and she does not condemn him for it. And so, over time, also because of Merlin's friendship with her, it is unlikely that she will go the path of Uther and condemn it. And with Merlin on Camelot's side, I don't really see anyone standing against them. So Albion is born through Arthur's sacrifice. And it is that friendship that had caused this to happen. This is how you do character-based storytelling. Every part of the world reacts to these two characters and their bond with each other. If Merlin doesn't love Arthur, then Arthur dies and Camelot falls. If Arthur doesn't love Merlin, Albion is never born. So their relationship is what causes destiny to happen, what causes fate to become real, and what causes the prophecy to be fulfilled. this is how a relationship can change an entire world. Is it far-fetched? Maybe, but have we forgotten how much power a feudal king had? One bad relationship could topple a kingdom because one man got manipulated. Yeah, I'm really glad we're over that one. So, the plot of this... So, without the characters. Okay, so this is once again character-based storytelling done right. The plot is flimsy at best, very episodic. But little by little by little by little, there's an incremental change in Arthur, and the whole world follows suit. So what's the foil here? Why are they opposites? Why do they feel like opposites in the story? It's because even though they have these very similar value structures, they have two key points of difference that make them complete opposites in this world, and it's played with by the plot the whole time. We keep pressing that button so that they can challenge each other. It's like two bulls racing into each other the whole time. And Arthur's strengths are Merlin's weaknesses, and Merlin's strengths are Arthur's weaknesses. So Arthur is very trusting of other people, to a fault. He cannot see when he's being manipulated, and he keeps trusting the wrong people. Merlin would have gone in on his own because he trusts no one. He finds it very difficult to build up trust with people, and he's always suspicious of conniving people around him. But Arthur teaches him to have faith in the knights, to have faith in the kingdom, to have faith in other people. And together these two aspects interplay with each other, so that they do need to learn how to trust the right people. And the plot keeps pressing these buttons so that they can be challenged, so that they can push these boundaries to the extreme, and so that they can improve each other. Neither one can succeed without the other, even though both men are great on their own. Arthur cannot be the hero of legend without Merlin at his side, and without Arthur, Merlin does not have the power to be anything but a rebel. He needs some of that institutional might. He needs some of that old tradition to help push him forward, to help push his ideas into the mainstream. The once and future king cannot stand alone. I know Arthur is supposed to fulfill that role, but we all know Arthur cannot cope without Merlin. He can't even get dressed. The once and future king cannot stand alone. Hello Whiskers, if you have not yet seen Merlin, sorry for the spoilers, but go watch it anyway. It's really just the sweetest story. And then as always, like, comment, and especially subscribe. We have another goal we're working towards. 100 subs. We can do that, I'm sure. If we're almost there. We're closer to 100 than to 50. So yeah, I'll try to do another Q&A video. At the very least, I'll do a tag or something to reward our efforts. So thanks a lot, and as always, thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. Ta-ta!